Hey, what's up guys? In today's video, I'm gonna tell you guys 5 CS rank tips and tricks that can help you to win more matches and quickly push your rank when you guys are playing Clash Squad rank matches. So first of all, let's start with tip number 1. Now I think you guys might have noticed that when we are playing Clash Squad matches, sometimes there's this really good enemy on the enemy's team that takes down our whole squad. So if you guys get into such a situation, what you need to do first is first of all identify who that player is. First of all, identify who's the best player on the enemy's team. After that, inform your teammates about the player. Once you inform your teammates about the player, get together with your teammates and first of all, take down that enemy. So first of all, if you guys take down the best player of the enemy's team, it's gonna be a lot easier to take down the other enemies and win that round. So the first tip that I want to tell you guys is first of all, find the best player of the enemy's team and then get together with your teammates and take him down first. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 2. As you guys might know, sometimes it can be very hard to defend against surprise attacks. For example, let's say that when you're attacking an enemy, all of a sudden another enemy comes from the back and spams a M1014 at you. So in such a situation, it can be very hard to defend against that enemy. But guys, one of the best ways that you guys can defend against such a situation is if you know the enemy's location. If you know the enemy's location, it's gonna be very hard for the enemy to do a surprise attack on you. And another advantage of knowing the enemy's location is that you guys can also do a surprise attack on the enemies. Now guys, in Free Fire, you guys can use different type of characters and loadouts to find the location of enemies. So for example, 2 of the characters that will show you guys the location of enemies, number 1 is the clue character and number 2 is the auto character, and a loadout that shows you guys the location is the scan loadout. So when you guys are playing Clash Squad rank matches, I highly recommend at least one of your teammates to either use a character or a loadout that shows the location of enemies. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 3. Now in tip number 3, I'm gonna tell you guys a very big mistake that players do in Clash Squad matches, and if you guys do this mistake, one of the things that can happen is that you might get very easily taken down by the enemies. Now the mistake that players do is that they stay in one place for a long time. Now one of the problems of staying in one place for a long time is that, for example, if the enemy knows your location, as I told you guys in the second tip, you guys can use different type of characters and loadouts to find the enemy's location. So if the enemies find out where you are hiding, it can be a lot easier for the enemies to surround and attack you. For example, one could come from the front, another could come from the back, and the other 2 enemies could also come from different sides. So if you get into such a situation, it's gonna be a lot harder to defend against those enemies at the same time. And another problem that could happen if you just stay in one place is that, for example, if an enemy sees you, the enemy could also perfectly time and throw a grenade onto you. So in such a situation as well, it can be very hard to defend against the enemies. So when you guys are playing Clash Squad matches, I recommend that you don't stay in one place for a long time. Don't just hold on to one place for a long time. After you attack an enemy, try to move from one place to another. For example, try to move from cover to cover and get to another place. An advantage of doing this is that you guys can confuse the enemies as well. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 4. Now in tip number 4, I'm gonna tell you guys one of the ways that you guys can make your squad very powerful. And that way of making your squad very powerful is by adding a sniper into your squad. Now I don't really understand why a lot of squads don't have a sniper, because it's actually a very underrated role. For example, one of the main reasons that having a sniper in your squad is very useful is because you guys can weaken the enemies from long range. So for example, let's say that we have a sniper in long range. So if that sniper does 150 damage to 2 of the enemies, it's gonna be a lot easier for the rushers to take down those enemies. So when you guys are creating a squad with your friends, I highly recommend that you add in a sniper into your squad. Ask one of your teammates to become the sniper, or if none of your friends like to become the sniper in your squad, you could also learn how to snipe and become the sniper of your squad. But guys, if you guys are playing with random players, I know that it can be very hard to tell one of your teammates in the random team to become the sniper. So one of the things that you guys can do is you can let your teammates in the random squad attack the enemies, and while they're attacking the enemies, you guys could also use a sniper from the back. For example, you could get to a higher place and you guys can use a sniper and an AR gun. For example, you guys can do a lot of damage to the enemy with just one single shot from the sniper, and afterwards you can clear out the enemy with the other AR gun. So from this example, I think you guys can understand how useful having a sniper in your squad can be. So I highly recommend at least one of your teammates or yourself to become the sniper in your squad. So guys, now let's move on to tip number 5. Now one of the reasons that it might be very hard for you guys to push your rank could be because you might be getting very hard enemies, and now one of the reasons that that you guys might be getting very hard enemies could be because you might be playing at times that a lot of players play. For example, if you are playing at times where there's a lot of competition, you might also get a lot of hard players in the match. So for example, some of the times that you guys might get hard players are during the night or during the evening. During these type of times, there's gonna be a lot of players that are pushing their rank, or players might also be playing for fun. But if you guys play during times where there's not a lot of competition, for example in the morning, there might not be a lot of competition because a lot of the players that push their rank during the night, they might be sleeping in the morning. So during those type of times, it could be a great idea to push your rank. So as I said earlier, try to play at times where there's not a lot of players playing. Now guys, another reason that it might be very hard for you guys to push your rank is because you might be doing some mistakes in CS rank matches. So make sure to check out this video if you guys want to know 5 mistakes that players do and also how to fix them. So I'll see you guys later on with another video, and until then, take it easy fam. Peace.